Over 25% of the football season has now passed by, and now we have a good idea of those teams who truly did good business in the summer and those who didn't. And so in this video, we'll explore the players who have left their clubs this summer and discuss why these departures could potentially come back to haunt their former teams. From rising stars to experienced veterans, we'll take a look at why these players should not have been let go by their clubs. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Number 1. Balogun. Arsenal could really regret selling US international Florian Balogun in years to come. Last season he was sent out on loan to Stade de Reims in Ligue 1 and scored 22 goals for them in all competitions. In comparison, Jesus and Nketiah only scored 20 between them. Still, Arteta decided Balogun wasn't part of his future plans and he was sold for around £35 million. Whilst that's decent profit for a youth product, Balogun could well end up being worth over double that if he builds on his form from last season. In 7 league games so far, he has 3 goals and 1 assist. The 22-year-old has settled into life in Monaco really quickly and will no doubt be out to prove Arteta and co wrong for not giving him a fair chance at the club. Nketiah, who Arteta preferred over Balogun, whilst a decent backup striker, is turning 25 years old before the end of the season and has never scored double-digit league goals. With his recent hat-trick against Sheffield United, he has already equalled his best ever goal-scoring tally in the league with 5 goals. We've seen enough of Nketiah to know he will never be more than a decent backup striker, whilst Balogun at his age still has endless potential. It's also worth pointing out that Balogun has 3 goals and 6 games for the US national team, showing he can perform at the international level too. Number 2. Cole Palmer. Now it's always hard to say Man City will regret selling a player given the success they continue to have. After all, they've got rid of the likes of Lavia, Jesus and Leroy Sané in the last few years or so, yet still continue to win trophy after trophy. However, they may still regret selling Cole Palmer in years to come. The 21-year-old had been shining in the academy for years and looked like he was finally going to break into the first team following the departure of Riyad Mahrez. He came off the bench to score a superb goal in the Community Shield versus Arsenal and then followed it up with a goal against Sevilla in the UEFA Super Cup. All signs pointed to Cole Palmer being a key player for Guardiola, yet on transfer deadline day City decided to sell him. And he's made an excellent start to life in Chelsea, with Paul Merson even likening him to Bergkamp. Just last night, he scored a crucial penalty to bring his side level versus Spurs, a thrilling game which Chelsea ended up winning 4-1. If Palmer ends up establishing himself as one of the best wingers in the league, then no doubt Guardiola will regret letting him go. Number 3. Ryan Gravenberch. It was only last season when Bayern paid €18 million for Ajax talent Ryan Gravenberch. Yet just over a year later, they've allowed him to join Liverpool. And that comes after only playing 559 minutes in the Bundesliga the whole of last season. Gravenberch was never given a chance to shine at Bayern and expressed his frustration at his lack of game time whilst at the club. But one man's trash is another man's treasure, as Liverpool have their hands on a special player who made his Ajax debut aged just 16. Players like Gravenberch only come around ever so often, as despite being 6'3", he's incredibly good on the ball, and that's why he's been likened to Paul Pogba in his prime. Alongside Szoboszlai and McAllister, Klopp could be building one of the best midfields in world football who could come back to haunt Bayern in the Champions League in years to come. Number 4. David De Gea. Though he's been better in recent weeks, Manchester United will surely regret ditching De Gea for Anana. The 33-year-old won the Premier League Golden Glove last season, and despite even agreeing to lower his wages, United made a U-turn and decided not to give him a new contract. Instead, they spent £55 million on Anana, who's made a number of high-profile mistakes since his arrival in Manchester. In fact, he's had such a shaky start that there were rumours circulating that United will try to re-sign De Gea, who's still not signed for a new club since his departure. Had United not treated him so badly, he could have at least been a very good backup keeper who could come in and ease the pressure off Anana. Another potential issue with Anana is that he's set to go to the African Cup of Nations in January, meaning United have no chance but to play Turkish keeper Bayender. That's a player who is yet to play a single minute for the first team and will come into a team that's already in such a huge mess. The chances of him fitting in seamlessly are low, whilst De Gea is already tried and tested. Number 5. Mauro Icardi. Icardi never really stood a chance at PSG when the players in front of him were Messi, Neymar and Mbappe. But following the departure of Messi and Neymar, it would have been worthwhile keeping Aardi, especially when you look at the numbers he's achieving at Galatasaray. Last season, whilst on loan, he scored 23 goals and got 8 assists in all competitions. This season, the move was made permanent for just 11 million euros and he already has 15 goals. That's more than Mbappe, who has 12, and far more than Moani on 6, and Dembele, who is yet to score this season. And let's not forget, Aardi has a track record of being a lethal goalscorer. Before PSG, he was at Inter Milan, where he scored 111 goals in just 188 league games. Whilst PSG are doing perfectly fine without him, you wonder just how good Aardi could have potentially been with Mbappe next to him had he been given the chance to start week in, week out. He's also delivering in the Champions League with 5 goals in the competition already, including the qualifying stages. So PSG may end up regretting his sell, especially if he keeps on firing and the likes of Dembele keep struggling. Number 6. Lewis Hall. Though it's only a loan initially, Lewis Hall will permanently sign for Newcastle for around £35 million at the end of the season. And with that, Chelsea are losing one of the best up-and-coming fullbacks to a club that can now be considered a Champions League rival. Chelsea already have 3 left-backs at the club, but one is out with a long-term injury and the other one nearly secured a loan move to United, so clearly isn't wanted. Ian Maatsen, to be fair, looks like a good talent, but again, he was also being linked with a move away in the last few days of the summer transfer window. Lewis Hall is 2 years younger and arguably the better talent. He's been slowly settling into life at Newcastle and recently scored a superb goal against Manchester United to knock them out of the Carabao Cup. If Chelsea end up needing to spend big on a left back in the summer, they'll regret not just keeping Lewis Hall, who could easily take Ben Chilwell's place in the England setup in years to come. Number 7. Dusan Tadic. To be honest, there's a whole host of players that Ajax will regret letting go, but Tadic may be the biggest one. Ajax are a selling club, so as much as they wouldn't have wanted to get rid of the likes of Kudus and Edson Alvarez, they didn't have the financial means to keep them, so at least they got good money for them. Tadic, on the other hand, is a 34-year-old who was the club's captain and would have stayed at the club had they shown some ambition. The Serbian reportedly grew tired of the lack of ambition of the owners, as well as the lack of quality in the squad following its decimation, so agreed to terminate his contract early. He's gone on to sign for Fenerbahce, for whom he already has 8 goals and 4 assists. That's 8 goals and 4 assists that Ajax could really do with right now, considering they are currently 15th in the Eredivisie. Not only that, Ajax could really do with someone as experienced as Tadic, who knows the club inside out, and could be extremely valuable in a potential relegation battle. And that was it for the 7 players that clubs will regret letting go. What do you guys think? Are there any other players that clubs will regret having let go? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel.